We talk so much about how to create regulation and co-regulation for ourselves and for our clients. But we often don't talk about how the space itself, meaning the physical environment of where we are doing therapy, how that actually supports or how actually that might be a challenge to the work that we're doing towards being able to regulate our own nervous systems. So I want to talk a little bit about how do we create a space that supports nervous system regulation. If you would like a much larger discussion on this, I encourage you to go to my Lessons from the Playroom podcast that is called What Does Our Playroom Say About Us? I'll go much deeper into conversation. But for this little segment, I want you simply just to even begin with that thought, because that might even be a new thought for you, that our environment or our space actually supports or doesn't nervous system regulation. So when you think about your playroom, or your play space, so that could be literally your room, or if you're doing teletherapy, what's happening in the visual field, right? What's happening behind you as the client is looking into your environment. And if you were to just stop and think about your space, is your space itself sympathetically aroused? Meaning, is there a bunch of stuff everywhere? Is it fairly cluttered? Is there stuff all over the walls? Are there places to move? Is there a sense of being able to take a breath in the space? Or does the space itself actually create a sense of internal chaos potentially? Or the opposite, it's too sparse. There's not a lot there. In fact, we could call the space hypo-aroused. So we're in a space and you almost feel sleepy in the space because there isn't enough stimulation. Or maybe the colors in the room really draw you in and down, if you will. So little things like this, we can begin to just think about, what does our space say about our nervous system, but more specifically, how does it support regulation? We need to be reminded that as we are regulating our system, our brains are constantly tracking, is there a challenge in my environment? Well, the physical space is the environment. So is there a challenge? Is there too much stuff? Is that a challenge to my system? Is there not enough? And is it a challenge to my system? Are there certain things that are challenging to the system? One that sometimes is not on the radar are sounds. So for example, if you work with a lot of children that have auditory processing, is there a fan in your space that is just on? That could be a challenge to that child's system learning how to regulate. What if there is, it really could be anything, right? Some people really love putting diffusers and putting essential oils in the room, but not everyone really likes the smell. Not everyone really appreciates a candle in a room. So these little types of things for us to get curious about, what are we putting in our environment? What is in our environment that either supports or creates more of a challenge for our own ability to regulate? Now, that doesn't mean when I just said like challenge and essential oils that we don't put them in there. It just means, can we keep in mind that what we put in there has impact, and how do we work with our clients to support things for them that are actually supportive? So that's just a little bit of a tip there for you to get curious. Go look at your rooms, go look at your space, get curious if they support regulation or not. You might even add in there, are there things in your environment that support it, like blankets or pillows or different textures and things that can also help with regulation? And just get curious. And if you want more information, again, go check out the Lessons from the Playroom podcast. What does our playroom say about us?